Merhaba, hoş geldiniz. Fontaine hikayesini hemen bitirip yapacağım. Kaçacağım. Çünkü çok merak ettim. Yani bugün oynamazsam olmazdı. Böyle biraz ışık, fazla ışık. Böyle yapsam iyi gibi, tamam. Şeyde şimdi şuradan bir yayında bir saniye. Şu an sonunu açtım. Şimdi. Tamam. Taşıyla okuyorduk. Taşıyla içeri ilişkiyle yaparsan edebilirsin. Tecrübeden menekşenin seviyesi artar. Her şey bu bilgileri olduktan sonra kendini açacak. Çocuk. Allah Allah, ne oluyor ya?
Describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans.
Ben oldum yerim. Olmuyor. Evet. Tamam. Hı. Evet.
Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that.
Olur demek ki.
The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else?
Mehmet.
Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was...
Önceki sürecin dağınık dünyayı bir düşmanı gösteriliyor. Kullandım. Ya ısrarla yine suçlu bulmayı nasıl anlamadım. Ziya dilimleri kazın altında saklı bilgilerini sunmak yakın sürede önce nasıl başladım yolun sayesinde engellendim. Nasıl yakınındaki harcamaları hazırlamadan daha yazıldığını söylüyorum. Yani sürüş bir spinacı o zaman yeni sayısı sürmeden kurtuldu. Yani bir şeyde bana aksın ilişkime yapmış kendi emelik sınavımızı birlikte düşünüyor. Eyvah. Sallıyorum. İlk bu diyeceğim. Değilmiş. O zaman ilk insana bulmuş. Derse şu o zaman.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve.
Ha, çözününce şeye dönüşüyorlar, eski hallerine dönüyorlar. Yani taşları bu iki silahı gördüğüm silah kutsal diğer bölgeleri yoksa ben halkda kutsal diğer tetiklerini zaman duruyor. Şu mu?
Perhaps what is about to take place has often the true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nerval and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine.
Sonra 3. Sözler denize battaniye açan insanların toplantı. Şu mu acaba? Değilmiş. O zaman bu.
it's not as simple as falling in. When Navia fell into the sea, the
Evet.
stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
Konu olarak Fontaine sözü başı kağıtların oyunu gösterip Fontaine'den yönetiminden yazıp denize. Beautiful concept design. Fontaine'in yerine sözün denize kadar yanılmanın sonunu tatlı atıp havaya çak. Kim acaba? O zaman budur.
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into the fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know if we hadn't dealt with it in time.
Çözdük.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the...
Evet.
The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events.
İyi.
Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now. So, but then it feels like...
Let's
Evet.
hear them.
Evet.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
Deli misiniz gerçekten?
Not real humans.
All Fontainians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontainians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around.
Indeed.
Evet. Finans okumadığım saçını geri kapıda olmak istiyorum.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia, but that could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been... When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within.
Well?
Aa, şöyle bir şey
I
oluyor.
believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land.
Ee,
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon as one of the seven did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanid's blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race.
Yayın oldu bir saniye. Şu an yayın çıkmıyor mu? Evet açıldı. Açık gözüküyor.
And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into
Peki nasıl
human beings?
ablanı silmiş?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, a key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment and justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
Evet.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate, you probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
Ne?
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause.
Kemerde geçen felaket muhtemelen burada başlayacak. Su banlam yoksa.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial. and the root cause of the disaster.
Böyle ne alaka? Aa, Çağ geldi. Anlamadım.
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while.
Üstü yapmış, bir dakika ya.
It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels.
Ezgin bir enerji başka bir sonuç ve büyüyormuş. Deniz seviyesi artışı benim de bu.
And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids,
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once—
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land fast. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a—
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like— Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy,
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the—
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
so the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled.
Konuşamıyorum, kaldım sana.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen.
Evet olmasaydı ya.
What's happening with the oratories?
Artık
I
sonra ne
believe
oluyor?
it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
Ne oluyor? Ne?
You.
Yo bir dakika ne oluyor? Hayır şu an sırası değil bir dakika. Ne oluyor? Şu an değil mi ya? Ben göremiyorum da bir saniye. Ne oldu ya? Lan internet mi ya? Sanmıyorum ne oldu? Ben yayını göremiyorum burada. Hayır hiç sırası değil lütfen ya. Tam heyecanlı yerimde. Yapma. Yapma. Burada gitme. Şu an ben kendimi görüyorum ama buradan telefondan görmüyorum bunu. Şu an kameram da FPS düşük biraz. Şu an geldi galiba bakayım. Tamam geldi. Hı. Ne oldu ona?
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor. Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's
O
hand.
yüzdenmiş işte.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being.
Be. Bir tanıtma sonra bir dakika bir anlamadım. Ustallığımı bedenimden ve ruhumdan ayırdım.
The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her.
Sonra ne yaptım?
All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon, alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been
Başka
torture
birine
for her.
kızdık o kadar ya. Üzüldüm şu an. O kadar kadının kızdım diye hiçbir şey yapmıyorsun. Tanrı olarak diye. Sonra üzülmek.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500 years. And all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Hı. Hı. Ne oldu dinler yanında?
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self, but I must ask you to keep to the— all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your
Bana
name.
bak onu.
Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance.
Ne diyecek burada?
Oh, do not jest. Can you
Başka
not
bir
feel
saniye
it?
seninle.
I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontainians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards! Where are the
Turna.
guards? Guards!
Not bad.
Hı.
Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne.
Oh, very good. You know it well.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember anything clearly.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve too?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still hope after all. Goodness, you frightened me. You spoke so much, and as for the suffering, well, I will admit that but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other.
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal.
Bir saniye arkadaşlar, şunu kontrol edeyim de ben. Bunu görmüyorum. Şu an şimdi tamam. Görmüyorum, görmeyince de ben diyorum ki var mı yok mu yani?
I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must if you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should your identity be revealed, then all...
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being...
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into being a human yourself. I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity.
I'm still not sure I understand, but... So, How long am I
Neyse,
going to
kadar
have
değil.
to play this role?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you, all will eventually end in a magnificent and dramatic trial, and everyone will be saved.
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
Biriyle tanışmış. Ya.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still... Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclese. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Verena de Fontaine, your new Archon. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of this should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-back puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Oh, this is bad. Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play
Kaç kere
the role of
bu kadar laf
a god
ettim.
as
Çok
humans
üzüldüm
imagine
tanrısın
them
diye.
to be.
Şu an çok üzgünüm. Çok kötü hissettim kendimi.
Calm down, Farina. Think. What assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel... Oh, very good, my people. Only one's now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials alongside. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the act. Now then, let us be reintroduced.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's improved than before.
Çok üzgünüm şu an. Çok üzgünüm.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, Keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that so long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese. So long as I stand.
Yargılarsın.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for you.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial are you truly looking forward to?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial...
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Oh, I'm afraid... All right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son's illness?
You remembered me, and you knew of my family, too. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience.
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me.
You're such a gentle and wise god. Thank you once again. I'll be...
Oh.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for...
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it. That's not something you need to worry about right now.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is also trying to find a way to...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't...
Oh, is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the gods, after all. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole... But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of suspicion. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. All right, Farina, don't think too hard about this.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already.
Lady Farina, I've waited so long for this chance to see
Kostüm değişti bu
you in
arada.
this manner.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This joyous moment is an honor for us both.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
$182.375 mi?
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria, almost 20 generations.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me...
Surely you exaggerate, Lady Farina. My lady?
What is it, good citizen?
Oh, are you crying?
Oh, really now?
Oldu
I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters, can I?
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then.
Çok kötü bir durum.
So interminable. So lonely.
Çeşmenin altına neden alıyormuş? Ah be.
Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far? I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. But all I can do is keep heart. I must maintain.
Bunları kim?
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than willing to share your burden with you.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. Yeah, and if to that is in its... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people of Fontaine... No, Farina, you shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Farina, you've worked so hard for so long. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come. Think about it. Long and hard.
Yani ben diye başlıyordum cümlesi.
No, I have nothing to say. I am Farina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better.
Söylemeyecekmiş.
All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
Söylemeyecekmiş.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first... She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works, but that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness, and Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes,
Ama
it would
değil de.
seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been
Kendini mi
placed.
öldürmek için yapmış yani?
I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose? My work over these last 500 years has been to but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used. The vast majority had to be accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan then? Both the...
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by...
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course.
Aa, millet mi tanrılıyor?
In other words, This was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be... Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuit. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over whether it be myself or all other Fontainians have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long.
Konuşmayayım. Senin çocuk geldik de. Tamam.
Udex Nervilette, the highest judge in our land. When you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Udex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last, I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervilette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Bildim şu an. Neden öldü?
I, Eudex Nouvelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
A word of advice.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that...
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from... We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Tanrısız mı? Kim yani şu anda? Abinin balina oyunlarında o. Hayır. Çok büyük. Hemen başlıyoruz. Ben bunu oynayamam, yok.
Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon. We shall look for an opening together.
Tamam ya. Gelme git. Yani bir şey yapmasak da kalır böyle. Boşa vurdum. Boşa vuruyorum. Keşke bir okçu falan saydım, hiç vuramıyorum. Heh. Nerede? Geliyor. Artık öl. Hadi. Ay saniye, ben seni gördüm. Ben bu sahneyi gördüm, bakmam. Ben bu sahneyi gördüm, bakmam. Korkunç.
What's that hole thingy over there? It looks really scary.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Show him your face. Let's dance. Come on, we can do it.
Hiç gözüm takılmalasaydım. Öyle mi uzaktın?
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well.
Sen misin benimle?
It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime.
Ustaman Ece'yle ile öğrencimin kavgaya tutuşacağını. Ne?
Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak.
Çok şey oldu bir dakika. Ne?
But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master. Wait, is that right?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, his name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous.
The fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfilnir then? Or Gold Rhine-daughter?
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine-daughter's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master, but I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhindaughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person? Paimon didn't quite catch their name.
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep sea. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne.
Hangi suya mı battı şimdi Fontaine?
Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Baktım Fontaine'in şu an çok oğlum. Böyle olması gerekiyordu. Ay baktı ya.
Hey! Help! Over here!
Gitti Fontaine şaka gibi.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Şimdi ne olacak madem Fontaine battı artık
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Vay be güzel hikaye. Ne yalan söyleyeyim. Sevdim bu sefer hikayeyi.
Are you alright?
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
Ne oldu?
The soil renewed. The Spina di Rasula attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it. Skyship Winglet, boon or bane of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute. What people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve him... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the stories. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also with...
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to...
Ah be. Bunu göre finale gidiyoruz.
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh?
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garun Snežević. He represented that our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is...
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote but if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report?
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature...
That would be fine.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Huh? You're here?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So
there's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision makers. And...
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel.
Forget it. I'm sure you can...
I see you're the same as always.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections.
Wow, you really do
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Merope.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Nervi...
That's a very complete...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that rides...
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you...
Ama çok güzel hikayeydi bu arada ya. Ya harbiden wow yani diğerlerine göre.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feeling.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude, did you come all the way?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our...
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your...
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
nervous. Miss Sharp.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her.
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth still, if I might ask.
Yok.
Looks like Charlotte's
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of...
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of researchers?
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone...
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try?
Ah, Siegewig.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure. Come on, Miss Siegewig.
Sure. Do I have to smile?
No.
So, how have things been at the front?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone...
Other than that flying ship, I got a tad...
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you...
I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh?
He sure did win the...
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine.
Oh, actually...
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging up. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the overworld.
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the... All right. Last stop, the docks.
Ah, ben şimdi başladım. Geri dönüyorum. Buradan gidelim ha.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
No.
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things...
Trick a friend. I wonder which of...
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your
You
sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins...
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of every... Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful.
That's all right. We're more than...
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
That's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about.
I would agree, but I've also heard...
So there's some reason for...
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which...
Isn't he real busy? But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the Nate.
They say that he's returned to
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Babam geliyor baba.
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the...
Are you going to take the gnosis back to...
That is our duty as harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the... As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners.
Evet, şeyleri oldu.
A vision? All right.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our...
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue my walk while the weather remains so...
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, traveler, Paimon, you take one too. That's right. Funny. I guess this must be life. We will all follow our own path. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Nivelette's doing?
Her şey doğan gelmişler. Ne evet.
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there!
Peki şu anda sonrası kim olacak? Boşluk kurada orayı doldursanız mı? Star'ın şeyini.
So, you really are here, Nivelette! Paimon didn't think you were going to have free time this hour.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out.
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually safe?
It is strange how words...
Whoa. So that's what happened? Fossilor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully fledged elemental dragon sovereign. But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontainians from dissolving.
For me, The authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontainians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of mimics. But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontainians became true humans, and thus would naturally no longer be dissolved by war.
Fossilor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving... Yeah! And in a manner of speaking, Fossilor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's wish.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask.
Evet.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Ah be. Bu çıkınca hep anlatsın. Son görev. Yolculuğun bir sürü bunu... Ah.
You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume.
Evet.
I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is,
Ah.
as far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
A nation of dragons? You mean like you?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years. Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations. The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
The Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously,
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. At most, he would have had tangential liability. As for the judgment passed by the oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association or Fossilor deliberately using him to buy time for us on the
guess Fossilor had Fontainians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her that they finally became real humans. Hang on a second. Back when Fontainians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also transformed Ocean?
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontainians would...
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where all the waters of...
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans in the coming months.
Paimon sorta gets it now. Anyway, seems like this ritual won't be of any further use, but it'll probably live on as...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left. What's that all about?
Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me. I related Fossilor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house. Not unlike...
But she's still got a place to...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for... In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit, but now that she no longer has to play the role of Fossilor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burdens and leave...
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers as the Hydro...
After Fossilor passed on, the Oratrice also ceased to function. This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear cases and pass verdicts by myself.
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the Udex, huh?
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty, in a manner of speaking, you could say that both were granted to me. As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. The duty of the Hydro Sovereign and the duty of... Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem. which is that the Opera House shall no longer...
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Archon. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay.
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
İşte şimdi tüm kullanınca.
Dragon's authority stuff is really quite useful, huh?
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for us during this crisis. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Gnosis. The Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more. And I do not need the Gnosis' as such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid...
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. Paimon still... When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the Gnosis had clearly changed. We guessed that there might be some reason for it that only...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. They are... So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting ready to share... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on.
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer... I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. It's quite a novel blend. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you speak of.
Ah, of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Ne alaka üçüncü gökten gelen?
Remains? I've never heard of any such thing.
Huh. According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis to me. But I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information... It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is what... Regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to, who are they? And when did they die?
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important for me to know. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on to you next time.
Next time? You believe we will meet again?
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I? He...
İnsan bakmıyor ne olduğunu.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful...
The remains of the third descent. So that's what the Gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a...
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it. Which is why you get...
If she speaks the truth, then I will... then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary risk by keeping it here.
Sen hemen verdin bunu. Evet bu arada.
I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but I did not expect. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your body also possess similar properties?
Like being able to use elemental No, let's not think about this stuff right now. Comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck.
Açıklama kurmak için çırpınıyorlar ya.
Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him. Or go look for his master and get...
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking.
Alright. Whatever the case, it seems...
Yes. All of Fos...
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god. And she...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth as raindrops. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes... And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that fall upon...
İşte. Fontaine görev bitti.
It seems from your expressions that you still have more Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know. I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan.
İşte ya. Yine bana sevdiğiniz için teşekkür ediyorum. Natlan'da görüşmek üzere.